41,000 total are at Children's Harbor up in Birmingham every year. 41,000. 5,000 kids and their families on Lake Martin at Children's Harbor. 5,000. There are 46 weeks of different programs for children with challenges. Unbelievable what the people at Children's Harbor does. And I always ask myself, how do you know how important something is? Let's just say Children's Harbor hasn't been here. Let's say there wasn't a place for kids and their families to go to up at the hospital when they're having to stay there for weeks. And you got a child, and they don't know the difference between being in nursery school and not being in nursery school. That child doesn't need to know that they're in a hospital all the time when they can go to Children's Harbor and have fun and play, just like if they were in nursery school out at recess. And obviously, when kids get a chance to go to camp, I remember growing up, and there were 8 weeks in the summertime, and I remember my dad working really, really hard, and I had some friends that would go to 8 weeks of camp, and I got to go for 1 week, and I thought it was unbelievable that my dad could figure out a way to scrape up enough money to give me 1 week of camp, and I never forget that and enjoy that and cherish that. Ain't nothing wrong with me. And you think about, all the kids that get here with their special challenges with other kids and other families, right? To share what it's like to go through when you got a child that's going through burns or hearing or speech impaired or cancer or heart or whatever it is. So there's just no better way of giving back. And plus you can't do it without all the people that come play in this tournament every single year and a lot of the same faces. And today we're out at Wicker Point, and this is a treat. This is a real treat to be out at this place.
Since you last talked to your right-hand man, has had a lot to do with this as
right.
well, is moving into the full-time ministry. Can you talk about what Chad has meant to the program?
Well, Chad's we've made history together, Chad Puit and myself and this coaching staff. I always say, if you want to judge me by the people I surround myself with, judge me by my coaching staff. And Chad was a great leader in that, because our program is based on family and faith. And Chad and his family obviously embody that. I've known for a couple years that this was something that was on his heart, and we got our basketball team this year to call God, and God called Chad Puit into the ministry. And it's always been about making a difference in young people's lives. He was a great high school coach, and he's one of my best hires. Hiring a high school coach from Lee Scott to come join our staff, and then Chad just worked his way up and helped us with so many things, development of our program. He's one of the best scouts I had. We'll miss him, but I'm really, really happy for him.
Bruce, just tell me about all the additions you've made in the portal so far in junior college. Just how do you feel about this group so far?
I mean, there's no question that we will be the most difficult team in the country to predict where we're going to finish. I mean, there are 16 teams in the SEC. They're not going to put us in the top 5 or 6 for sure. But it'll be interesting to see where they do pick us, because everybody's new. Tahaad's got a chance to come back, and we'll probably know in about a week's time, maybe 8 or 9 days, about what's going to happen there. And again, he's still in the same position that he's been in the whole time. And that is, if he can get in the first round, he's going to go. And if he can get in the first round, he should go. And if he doesn't feel, if his folks don't feel like he is going to be in there, towards in the 20s somewhere, then he'll come back. And in addition to that, everybody else is new. If he does come back, he's going to have to play an expanded role, which is I know something that is exciting to him. Probably exciting to our fan base too, because we'll get to see more of him, because he'll be a starter and there'll be more on it, So, but I like the group. I think it's going to be a group that works hard. I think we got really good character guys. And we got to reinvent ourselves. We got to reinvent our culture. This summer is going to be more important for me having breakfast and Bible studies than ever before. Just kind of trying to get these guys to understand who we are and what we do, and why we do it the way we do it. And I don't have Dylan Carwell just be like him. or Denver Jones, Chaney Johnson, Miles Kelly. You know, so many guys on the team. But I like the group we got, and I'm excited they'll all come in on Memorial Day.
Would you?
Follow up on that. Is there something intriguing, exciting about a completely new roster where you sort of get to form a little bit?
Yeah, I've actually started to recruit a little bit the last few pieces along those lines, going, you know, if you're coming in late and you're worried about coming in late, guess what? You're not late. You may have been one of the last ones to sign up, but everybody's coming and they don't know a single drill. They don't know how I run practices or what we do. And so they'll all be experiencing at the same time. And so they're going to almost all be like freshmen. And if you think back to your freshman years, if you think back to people who went to college, the guys that you are still friends with 20 years later in life were the guy that you were hanging out with your freshman year. You experienced that together. So as a result, I think our work will be to get this team to get close. You know.
Do you feel like team building has been one of your strengths, and is that kind of excites you about being able to, you know, put a team together from so many new pieces?
One of my strengths being what now?
Team building, one of your strengths. Do you feel that way?
Yeah. I don't know whether it's one of my strengths. It's one of the things that head coaches have obviously got to do. I don't, you know, I just don't know, because there's so many pieces about what I don't know who's going to be great in ball screen. I know I think I got some guys that can shoot the basketball, but I don't know who else is going to be able to make plays in that ball screen. You know, we don't have Janai Broom down there, just throw it to him, go get a bucket, or, you know, or get him a short roll and make a play in and out of it. I will have to evaluate this team and decide how we're going to play. We might have to play faster than we did. We're not going to be as big, so we're going to have to play faster and quicker maybe, but we'll see. We got some things that we're working on.
Felt like you guys in the portal, it's a lot of guys with versatility and played a bunch of different positions.
Yep.
Like Keyshawn specifically. Like,
yep.
You know, just was that something that y'all wanted to prioritize in there, with having to figure out so many roles that you've got guys who can play so many different positions?
Yep. I think that's part of it. You know, you don't like to duplicate, and so we as we sit right now, we're still sort of waiting on a big, and we hope to have something that we can work our way through, an international player that it just takes time to process. So
Right.
we're not saying anything right now just because we don't have the T's crossed and the I's dotted. So we're working on that, and then we'll wait to see what Tahaad does, and if he comes back, that last scholarship may go to a wing or somebody, but if he doesn't come back, it's probably going to have to go to point guard and a real playmaker.
Have you already scouted some guards? Are you ready for that possibility?
We've got several guys that are waiting to see what he decides.
You made note a year ago that you couldn't believe it was middle of May and you still didn't have. I think you signed Miles maybe after this a bit. Yeah. That's the new normal, I guess, right?
It is. It's been good. I feel good. I was really tired after the last two seasons. I'll be honest with you. I feel good this year. I feel good this May. We've been going, and we've done pretty well. I give John Cohen and his staff a lot of credit, because they knew that this was going to be a year where I was going to require more NIL. You know, last year, I don't mind telling you, last year our basketball team was about 8th in our league in NIL, and but we had some guys that were veterans that want to stay and that were, you know, that weren't in it just it wasn't, you know, when you're recruiting, it's really not about, there's no loyalty there. There's no, I want to be an Auburn man there. There's no, you know, it's like, you know, hey, if you're going to be fair, it's like it's anything. If anything you do, you know, you're working someplace, and we always promoted them and they grew. But if you go out there in the market and there's 6 people wanting you to go do the same job you were doing, that's going to raise the ante. I always told those guys, if you guys got the transfer portal, you guys going to get more. And so that's part of it. And having to replace 11 guys, we've had to have a greater investment. And John Cohen and on the Victory and our donors were prepared and put us in a position we could put a roster together.
This freshman class, what excites you about those 3 guys?
Well, I think Caden Magwood has got a chance to be special. He's got a lot of Tahaad in him. He can really score. He's not afraid. He's got edge. And so it'll be fun watching those guys play against each other and with each other. I think Simon Walker is going to be a guy that gets better every single year. He'll really compete. And as a freshman, he'll be challenged to be a starter, but he's going to put himself on the floor. And he's a tough kid, And you know, he was best player in the state of Alabama. It's been a while since we've gotten Mr. Basketball in Alabama, and we're excited about him and just the way he's going to work and his career. And then Sebastian is he was a very athletic frontline player. I would say will remind you of a younger Chaney Johnson. Doesn't shoot it like Chaney, because I always thought Chaney, when he shot, he could make it, even though he didn't shoot a lot. Sebastian's got to work on his range a little bit there, but really good off the bounce, takes the ball to the basket, can finish, and he wants to be coached. He's a pretty good athlete. So those three freshmen there are good. How many of them are going to play, how long they'll play, you know, it's hard. It is obviously hard for freshmen, but I think all three have a chance.
Including Tahaad, y'all had 4 guys up at the combine process, that in the G League with you know, Dylan and Miles and Janai, obviously. What's it like seeing that many guys up there?
Well, in Denver Jones should have been there, you know, and so really, truly, we should have had, you know, 5 guys, you know, up there. And if Chad Baker had stayed in the draft, he would have been up there. So, or got in the draft. So, we were the best team in the country for most of the year last year, and it's because we had really good players. You know, I mean, that's just bottom line. All it does is validate the quality of our team, and you know, certainly, you know, last year's team made history. We were one of the best teams in college basketball. I think Florida was the best team in the country. I do, and I think the other teams that were at the Final Four, you had the 4 best teams in college basketball at that Final Four, and whoever you might have put 5th, you could not have made a case ahead of Auburn and Houston and Florida and Duke. Tell you what, I'll take one more because I can leave something on the table for you guys. I know I haven't had a press conference in a while.
When you look at, you know, Keyshawn Murphy is a guy that you've known for a while, came to Auburn camps. You talked highly of him last year. What kind of a role, what kind of a player do you see him as?
Well, Keyshawn's going to be versatile. I mean, he can play 4 or 5, but my 4s and 5s are very interchangeable, and he can play both. He played mostly center at Mississippi State, but he'll be a guy that can stretch it. I remember Keyshawn when he was in high school, and I remember his early years in Mississippi State. He was a stretch, and the last couple of years, he's gotten better around the basket. He's become a better defender around the basket. He's finished better. He's good in the short roll game. He's a good passer. He'll be a really good player. It's going to be interesting to see how we defend, because you know Dylan Carwell was the best defender on the floor. Janai was able to guard multiple positions. You know, Chad Baker was long and could really guard. Denver was the best on-ball defender. Miles Kelly was long. I mean, we had a really good defensive team, and that was where our bread was buttered. So that's going to be probably our biggest challenge. All right, guys.
Thank you. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, guys. Thank you all.